Hi floss tube, so this will be part 3 of my 2015 year in review. It's fun. I'm having to do it in segments because now it's saying I haven't got enough storage. Oh my god, this is such a dire nightmare, and I am actually losing light. Light has left the building, so I do apologise about shadows and things like that, because fortunately there's not an awful lot I'm going to be able to do about it, but I'm just going to record this and hopefully get it finished. So that should take us to November, 1st of November, as I had already said in any previous videos, to these 3 releases, that I was going to concentrate on a Christmas piece in November and December, basically because December is a mad month for a lot of people, but I just don't get the time to do any stitching in December. I mean, literally there was like 2.5 weeks where I didn't even pick up any stitching at all. So to work on a Christmas piece in December alone, it would have to be quite a small piece, and that's not necessarily what I want to do. I want to just do a Christmas themed piece, even if it takes me a couple of Novembers and Decembers, that's fine, but you know, I don't want to be restricted because I think that maybe I won't get it done. So in 2014 I started a Christmas Carol sampler by the Primitive Hare. It looks like this, and that's when I knew, because I started it on the 1st of December, and that's when I knew that just December's just out for me. That I just wouldn't be able to do any sort of stitching regularly, and it was the same this year. So this, I did try and get it finished. I worked all the way up until the 1st of January on it, obviously with visiting family and everything in between, and I so nearly did it. So this is where I'm at now, and literally what I've got left to stitch is the coach, which is here, and there's snow that runs, there's snow that runs underneath, and then Ebenezer Scrooge, Tiny Tim, Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens, written underneath that. So really not that much left, but just I was cutting it to the end anyway, and I just couldn't get it done. So I'm going to make notes, obviously, when I go back after all these videos and put in the information bar, because I'll do that on my computer because I can edit better on that. But this is 30 count Weeks Dye Works in Baby's Breath. It was recommended to be charted on Old Salem linen, which is also a 30 count, so it's the same count, which will become relevant in a minute. But that's made by the Primitive Hare, and if you've looked at any of Tara C's videos, she says it's absolutely amazing, and no doubt I was in a rush to start this. So that's why I ended up with the Weeks Dye Works, but the Primitive, the Old Salem linen does look fabulous. It recommends 4 gasts, and then DMC. I did notice, as I was stitching it, that I was running out of thread, and I wouldn't say I'm a particularly wasteful stitcher when it comes to thread. I will literally go to the end if I can, with little bits left like that. But on some of them I did need more than 1 skein, and I only bought 1 skein. So I will leave a note just in case anyone was thinking of stitching this and may want to pick up the extra threads. Sorry, move the camera. But yeah, the 3 that I needed more than 1 skein of was Tarnished Gold, which is the one that runs round the border. I actually needed 3 skeins of that. Moonlit Path, I needed 3 skeins of that also, and I needed 2 skeins of DMC 3865, which is Winter White. Now I can't conclusively honestly say until the piece is actually finished exactly how many skeins I used, and obviously I will keep you updated when I finally finish it as to the exact amount that I did actually use. But just as a preempt, if you was thinking of doing this pattern, one skein of each for me wasn't enough. I mean, potentially that could change. You could change the count. There's no beading or anything like that, so you could easily change the count on it, and that could potentially change the amount of skein or floss that you would need. But yeah, so that was the only thing, like sort of side note, that I would say to bear in mind with this pattern. So as I said, if I finish a pattern early, or if I finish something that comes up in my rotation early, then I may go back and just finish it. If not, then obviously it will come up again in the November, come up again for Christmas in November, and I will finish that before I start my new Christmas pattern. But I will get that finished in November. So that is the primitive hare. I did also, but obviously this is going to be a problem because now I can't insert pictures, but I did also finish the series, the Country Cottage needleworks, and I did actually fully finish them, and I turned them into bunting. I did post that on Cross Stitch Finish Line and Stitch Maynia Facebook group, but that was back in December, and I did have them hanging up for Christmas, but unfortunately I packed them away. So come December you can actually see them in person, and the photos weren't great, but obviously now I definitely can't insert them. So yeah, so I did also finish that, so that was a fully finished. Oh, now I've got my phone available, I might be able to, minus the glare, see if I can find it on here. Maybe should have done this beforehand. But yeah, I did really enjoy those, and I was really proud of myself because it was the first. I don't know how to use a sewing machine properly, and don't get me wrong, the stitches weren't amazing, but it was the first project that I'd actually done where I used my sewing machine and actually got it completed. So I was really pleased. So I don't know whether you'll be able to see. Oh no. Not at all. I'll see if I can. Dim the light. Ah. So yeah, that's, well, how they looked when I quickly put them up. So yeah, I was quite pleased with that overall. And that's a bit more of a close-up of what they look like. Each square come to around 5 by 5 inches. So yeah, I was really pleased, and it's nice, and it's something that I'm proud enough that I would get it out every year for Christmas, so that's really good. But then obviously, as a lot of you are already doing or are collecting, they did bring out the Gingerbread series, which is the Gingerbread Village. So I will show you that. So I started that as soon as I'd finished, because as soon as I see it, I wasn't necessarily intending to do another series. I thought that these would make great no-sew cubes, and for those of you that don't know what a no-sew cube is, or would like to know how to make a no-sew cube, Tara C and Carolyn Mazzio do great videos on how to make a no-sew cube, so go and check them out, because I will be when I come to finish these. So I have got some finishes in this series. Obviously I'm still well behind. So this is the gingerbread train. I've minus the button. I do have the button, but I wasn't going to put that on until I'd actually completed, until I was ready to turn it into a no-sew cube. So that's the gingerbread train. So that was completed in January. And this one I completed last night, which is the peppermint tree and the gingerbread girl, or the gingerbread girl and the peppermint tree, which is quite sad because she's meant to go there. She's a button, but they're missing the gingerbread girl. But that's the stitching as such is completed on that one. And tonight, as I've wasted all day doing videos, tonight I will start on the next one in the series, which of course is Gingerbread Village, just in that one. So I'll start that one and start that off, and I'll just work a little bit on it as often as I can. But these are classed as my on-the-go projects. I don't class this as a proper finish until it's fully finished. So that takes me up to the 1st of January. Now, as already, oh, maybe I should discuss my rotation. Okay, so my plans are for 2016, but I'm going to do them in brief because I'm sure I'm driving everybody crazy with my videos now. In brief, my plans are, I keep all my projects in bags like this. I have 11 bags. Bearing in mind I do 2 months for Christmas, that it's like the equivalent of having a whip every month. So if I had 11 whips, you'd want to at least work on 1 a month. Yeah. So and get a full month in. I don't have 11 whips, but I do have a lot of patterns. I don't have a lot of stash as in threads and beads and things like that, but I do have a lot of patterns, and I only buy patterns that I like. I'm not a collector in that sense, but I do have a lot of patterns, and I do tend to go for large projects all the time. And some of the smaller ones I really do like, I don't necessarily get done, or because I'll think I'll finish a big project, start another big project. So that's where Stitch Mania comes in, because I'm using it as there's monthly stitch-alongs. I'm using as a guideline to focus on projects that that I've either got in works in progress or I have in patterns that I have in my stash. So, for example, with the New Year New Start, I knew, and I will always want to do a New Year New Start. Now, I didn't do a big New Year New Start because I knew that I already had 2 rather big projects for me. But I picked one knowing that I would go along with that because I really liked that idea. So I know but I'm doing it monthly, so from the 1st of January to the 1st of February, and that's how it worked. For example, this February one, which is We Love Stitching or something like that. With the Stitch Mania, it's quite broad. So, for example, We Love Stitching, it could be anything to do with love. It could be anything that you're stitching for someone you love. It could be anything that falls in that criteria of you love to stitch it. It's quite broad. Now, if you've got works in progress, or if I had work in progress where that falls into that category, then that would take precedent. So I would definitely stitch that rather than pick from my stash of patterns, or pick from my stash of patterns if I don't have either. So either a work in progress or something in my pattern collection that would fit, then I will just work on something else, whatever I choose, but it has to be a work in progress. So that's basically sort of my self-imposed rules and routine, but it does mean that I get to have a few new starts, but I'm still really focusing on my works in progress as well, as they always take precedent. So to try and make that make sense, my New Year New Start, as I did mention in my November video, and I've kind of briefly shown you, sorry about the rustling, is I decided to do Nora Corbett, the Peony Pixie, which is here. So it's a smaller Mirabilia style, lavender and lace style, fairy pixie lady. But it still gives me the kick of that lovely, like their dresses and the prettiness and that sort of thing, because I do enjoy that, but I didn't necessarily want to start a big Mirabilia, then have Creation by Tempting Tangles, then have Glendon Place. That's just not me. It's personal preference, but you know, this whip thing is having more than one work in progress is quite new to me, so I don't want to overdo it in one go. So I thought, New Year, New Start, I will do this. So I did. So on the 1st of January I started the Peony Pixie. And actually, I got quite far with her, I feel. So the fabric that I've chosen for this was an October limited edition by Sparklies. It's relatively true to life, I'm assuming from the screen. You can see the green, but it is brighter. It's a brighter green. She's very sparkly. The changes that I've made, I've stitched the skin 1/1. I know, glutton for punishment. But actually I've got a magnifying glass. So, although those mag eyes look really good. But, and I may, because the magnifying glass does get on my nerves. It's heavy, and when I'm putting it on my frame, and then if I want to, because I've got Lowry, if I want to twist it it can get, but that's not important. But that made it a hell of a lot easier, so I know I definitely need to use a magnifier to do 1/1 on 32 count. Obviously the fabric, as I said, is the October limited edition by Sparklies. And the wings here, if I can, I always swap. I know I feel like I'm repeating myself sometimes, but I always swap petite treasure braid out for Krennic if I can, because I just prefer using it. So this is actually a swap. So this is a petite treasure braid here instead of the Krennic that they was using, but it is similar, very similar to colour, in colour. Obviously she does have a few treasures on her, and she also has beads as well. I'm not putting those on till the end. I don't, it wouldn't have really confused me within the patterns, so there was no need for me to do it. So obviously that was my January, 1st of January start till the 1st of February, and that's when I put her down and put her away. But I'm quite pleased with the progress that I made on her. And you'll quite shortly see that she'll be coming up soon in the rotation. So that is my Peony Pixie by Nora Corbett. Then the next one is actually still on the frame. The next one was, like I said, I love stitching, and all these patterns, I will only ever pick a pattern to start, a new pattern to start, if I have something like that in my stash already, patterns, not threads and everything, just patterns. And I had this, it's a Creation Chrystelle, de Chrystelle. It's a French pattern. The picture really doesn't do it justice, but it's a French pattern, and I've had it in my stash for a long time actually, and I just thought it was really cute, and I thought it was very appropriate because you've got the heart and then you've got like the bobbins, so I just felt, oh, that's appropriate as like a little sampler piece. So I will stitch that for the February stitch along for Stitch Mania, which is what I started on the 1st of February. Now it's still on my frame, and this is how far I've got. So it's actually stitched up. Let's see if I can. It's actually stitched up quite quickly. And it is really cute. Now the fabric, I did have to buy some of the DMC, it's only DMC. Now the fabric is actually a Crafty kitten fabric. It was ironically, it was the 2015 limited edition for January. So I just felt that the greens and the mottled greens, and it's actually got, you can't really see, but it's actually got like pinks coming in, because I wanted, as it was to do with stitching, I wanted it to be reminiscent of the sort of stitching, so with the hand dyed fabrics and things like that. And I am actually thinking that these should be filled in. There's like, you can see little gaps, yeah, you can see it better in the heart, should just be more stitches, but I may even put little beads there, so it's sort of reminiscent of the sort of stuff that and sort of beading that I will do now. So I'm really quite pleased with that. It does contain some speciality stitches, but they're not particularly difficult, and even though the whole pattern is written in French, if you can read a cross stitch pattern, you'll be able to read this. It's not difficult. I have quite a few continental patterns that are written in Italian or French, and actually don't let that throw you as such. I mean, to be fair, you can get a lot of good converters nowadays, translators and things, so that could translate anything that you was unsure of. But as long as it's a basic pattern and not something you've never tried before. For example, I haven't done hardanger, so I won't have as my first pattern if I wanted to try hardanger in a foreign language, preferably, because that's going to make my job 10 times harder. But when it just comes to cross stitch, you can read a cross stitch pattern, you don't necessarily have to read the language. So, but yeah, so that's the main change, obviously, other than the fabric on this pattern is, as you can see, although this picture isn't great, it looks very blocky on here, but is the alphabet. I didn't like the alphabet. It's full crosses and it was quite blocky. There's nothing wrong with it, it's nice, but the alphabet wasn't for me. And I quite liked the delicate of the back stitching for the thread. So I actually back stitched the alphabet. I chose another alphabet and I back stitched it instead. So I did have to count and manoeuvre some of them around, but I mean, actually, there was the same depth, same number of counted thread depth anyway, so it made no difference, really. It was just literally that it's back stitching instead of blocked, and it comes in a little bit more than it does on the pattern, but that's fine, because I may even attach 2 little embellishments here, like maybe 2 cream buttons or something, which will just add to it and the sort of things that I like to stitch. So I'm really quite pleased with how that's coming out, and pleased with how that's carrying on. So that is, just to show you again, Chrystelle, Créations de Chrystelle, mes petites bobines. Don't go by my French, it's horrendous. My English is just good enough. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily shy away from patterns unless you know they're going to be complicated. Sorry, my cat is moaning. Unless you know they're going to be complicated, I wouldn't necessarily shy away from a pattern like this, because it's a shame, because, you know, they're really pretty. They're the sort of thing I like to stitch. So hopefully I will get that finished by the end of February. I've only got a couple more. I've got this bit to do. So I should have actually, in theory, have a start, famous last words, have a start and have a finish in February. So that will free up one of my folders, as I was saying, because I won't exceed 11. So no matter what happens. So hold on a second. I do apologise, hold on. Come on then. Out you go. Oh, sorry about that, he would have drove me crazy. Oh, yeah. That's it. So, I'm nearly finished now, guys, I am sorry. So, that is my I love to stitch. So, the next stitch along, as in what's coming up, the next stitch along is It's Not Easy Being Green, March. So, again, I have got patterns in my stash that would have fit that, and I could have started them because I still had enough room out of my 11 folders to do that. But works in progress come first, and as this is on green, this seems like the prime thing to stitch. So as of the 1st of March, I will be going back to Nora Corbett's Peony Pixie, and this will be my focus piece from the 1st of March to the 1st of April. And hopefully I'll be able to get her done with the progress that I made on her, although we all know beading takes longer than we think. Hopefully I'll be able to get her finished as well, so that will be quite nice, because that means that in 2016 I would have had 2 new starts and hopefully 2 finishes by the end of March. So yeah, that's my update. I bet you're thinking, thank you. That's my update. Thank you so much for sticking around for this. It's been a mission, and hopefully this will upload okay. I am pushing my luck. It is nearly 25 minutes. So yeah, if you've got any questions, please ask. I do try to respond, although I have problems with YouTube. I have problems with technology generally, but I do have problems with YouTube. They don't always notify me. Sometimes I get notifications, sometimes I don't. I don't understand that, but I will try to get back to you as much as I can. But thanks guys, thanks for sticking with me, and keep those videos going because it's absolutely, I love them. I do watch them all the time. Sometimes I fall a little bit behind, but don't worry because I will find time to binge watch even if I've got little matchsticks in my eyes of a night. But I hope you all have a safe February into March, and hopefully I'll see you mid-March so that I have a bit of progress on both. And I will see you later. Thanks guys, bye.